I am attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening. This is Bob Pace. I'm your host for How to Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. You just heard a message from my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, about an important Zoom meeting on Saturday, so I hope you all attend. You can learn insights from a real attorney, and I'll talk more about Mr. Davis in a little bit. But I want to thank you for finding this podcast. I'm on earlier. I tried to let you know this morning when I left the podcast that I remind you guys again that I come on 2 hours early because I have a football game that I'm attending tonight. It's Friday Night Lights, high school football with my son. So families are important. And I know that you all are experiencing something really awful. And that is to deal with an agency called CPS. I call the agency the Child Protection System. What it is, it's all the entities that are found in different parts of the counties in different states and stuff. So I want you all to know that I welcome you here, but I call the agency the CPS, the Child Protection System. Now, the Child Protection System is supposed to be a government entity that is protecting our children from neglect or abuse. It's also supposed to take care of individuals and so forth. And so this is my early evening podcast, but they're supposed to be taking care of something important called food and shelter and clothing and education and medical, transportation, and even a job. They're also supposed to put families back together after they find it necessary to separate the families because of extreme danger. It seems a lot lately, a lot of the CPS agencies in different parts of states are automatically taking your children when they get an investigation. It's for the sole purpose of making money off you. They make a lot of money off you, and that is wrong. They're using it at the expense of your children and your family. There's so many horrible cases I've heard of families that have had to choose which child to keep. I have a young single mom who is going through terrible times because she had to choose between taking her son or taking her daughter, and she was forced to make the decision. Our question is, how can she be okay to have her son and not okay to have her daughter? So she chose her son because of the special needs, and she sacrificed and let her daughter of 3 go away. And she has opened up the case after 13 years. She's been trying to get word to her daughter that she loved her daughter. She didn't want to give her up, and that she had no choice because the agency in Richmond, Kentucky was so corrupt. They are corrupt. Kentucky is one of the bad cases to have a CPS case. And that woman has gone through a lot because before she started having children, she was a child herself. And she was in and out of foster care, which is a horrible experience. 5 times, where she's molested and raped, forced to walk on rocks to hurt her feet so bad today that she can hardly walk. She has a lot of issues from foster care growing up. A lot of it was part of her mom, but she loved her mom and she was loving her mom to her death. But it was sad to say is that a lot of you are probably experiencing the same things, because if you have a case as a foster child, they won't forget you. They'll come after you, and that's what they did with Faye. And so she is struggling right now because she's encountered other issues in life, like the landlord decided to sell his home, and the new landlord, I don't know if she'll be able to rent or not, but she had a really nice situation there, but now she has to look for rent. The other day, we're talking about Bloomington, California, where Amazon is buying up all the homes in this community to build an industrial park for Amazon. The problem is homeowners are paid nicely, but they're not sharing it with their renters. A lot of Latinos rented that place, and they now don't have a place to live. They're becoming homeless. And again, the children are being caught up by CPS. CPS, whether you're in San Bernardino County, LA County, or Orange County, where my case was, it's terrible in California. It's terrible. It's terrible in all the states that I've talked to. And I've talked to every 50 state, including Washington, D.C., where a mother was raped twice, once in a new HUD home. And then again, she was under the protection of the police. They had her child, and she was raped again in a hotel. So I'm telling you, it seems like a lot of police and a lot of the child protection systems are corrupt. Now, the reason why I use CPS is it's easier to talk about all the agencies and all the states and all the counties. So I want to thank you all for coming to find my podcast. You went and searched on Facebook, Fight CPS, and you came up with Bob Pace. It is live. I'm broadcasting on YouTube, and I'm using the StreamYard as my application. The StreamYard as my application. And I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. And I come on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for an hour, and then again at night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The only exceptions is on Sunday I go to church at 10:30, so I have to broadcast earlier at 8, and so I can leave for church and get there. So that on Sunday, and then of course tonight I have a football game, and it varies from week to week on the time. But right now it's 4 o'clock, and I have to check with my show producer, Grace, to let me know. And she let me know this morning that I could come on at 4 o'clock so I could attend the football game. So I really appreciate you all listening. You've come to the right place, because I can share you what to do about handling CPS. I had it myself. I'm a family man. I'm a loving father. I have 6 children, 3 older ones and 3 younger ones. I've been married 32 years. Before that, I was married another 10 years. It didn't work out. Not that I didn't want it to work out, but I was forced to divorce, and I lost a daughter because of that. It was really sad, because those were her vengeful words: "You'll never see your daughter again." And so my daughter, at the age of 3, grew up without a dad. And my first wife remarried again, but she divorced him quite lately, and she had another child. So I know that my daughter and my daughter's brother, have had no parents. So it is sad out there. It is really, 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 really sad. So I want to tell you all that I can share a lot of experiences, ups and downs, with a child protection system. It's an awful agency because they lie, they cheat, and they do not help you find your children. They don't give your children back. They end up causing the parents to be bitter and fight about it. And then on top of that, we have to spend all our money and all our time. I had a beautiful home, a very expensive home, 1 mile from the beach. And My children had their rooms and so forth. But unfortunately, CPS was after me for 5 years. What they did is that they constantly would call me and say things like, you weren't feeding your kids, you weren't taking your kids to school, they weren't having any clothing, you're not paying for utilities. And so what I had to do is I had to fight them off. Unbeknownst to me and my wife, we did not know it was her mother, her father, her 3 sisters, and her brother calling in once a week, making allegations that weren't true in our life like hell for 5 years. And it was something that we still experience today with the hellish, because I relive it by talking about it on my show. But I want to help you know you don't make the same mistakes. And one of the first things that you can do is get an attorney. Now, you just heard Mr. Davis talk about his Zoom meeting on Saturdays. That's important to go to. Just join the school and are registered, and you can go to that Zoom meeting on Saturday. It'll repeat again at the end of my podcast. Now, you want to be very careful with this agency. They're very corrupt. They will lie, and they'll take you in. So that's why it's important that the one person you have is an attorney. But unfortunately, not everybody can afford one. Why I couldn't afford one? Well, when I lost my job through no fault of my own in 2010, at the age of 60, I wasn't very marketable to get a job. And on top of that, I had to fight them all the time. And I had to sell my house to use that money to hire an attorney. And it's sad when you have to sell your house and you lose all the equity because you sell it cheap. I sold my house as much as I bought it for to pay off the loans. I had terrible loans. I had a predatory loan, a loan that means they overqualify you for a loan you should not have. He gave me a credit line, $300,000 credit line on a $650,000 loan. That's $1 million. Of course, the home is a $2 million home, but I had to quick sell it, and I got very little money to pay my attorney. Now, I hired an attorney, and that's the key, is the attorney I hired is Vincent Davis. And he's a nice man. He tries to help out so much. He gives so much of his time, he gets overextended. But he has a law firm. It's called Vincent W. Davis and Associates. He has all kinds of attorneys that can help you. Now, the area of law you're in is called dependency law. And dependency law is the law that deals with family and juveniles with child protection system cases. That's where the childs are abused. Now, it's either abused by neglect or by negligence. The problem being the way the system works. If somebody, a layman or a professional, calls in, automatically you're guilty, and the child protection system thinks you're guilty and prosecutes you as guilty. Now, I know there's good child protection service social workers, the child protection system social workers, but there's so far and few. I've only had 3 on my show. The first one was Carol from Maryland, who was a clinical psychiatrist who had a license and also had 6 months of training in Maryland. And she talked about her case. But it was totally different than the other people that have talked to me from Maryland. And the stories every day I hear are terrible. Like this morning, Deanna from Ohio is still trying to find out answers on her case. So many people are left in the dark. They're not responsive. They're not your friend. So going back to getting an attorney, I needed to get one because I tried to fight them with what's called a court-appointed attorney. The court-appointed attorney are a waste of time. They are a waste of time. And sad to say that they just are trained in legal matters. They're just typical lawyers. They're just criminal attorneys. And they will not fight your case like a real pit bull will, like Vincent Davis. You have to be a dependency, family, juvenile attorney. You got to be trained in that law. Now, Vincent has had 35 years of fighting CPS and is very well trained in it. He's a professional. He also is a trial attorney. That means he can help you with matters that require a trial. Now, in CPS, there's no criminal trial, there's no jury trial or anything like that. But be forewarned, I've heard from people, and there's one person was incarcerated supposedly by CPS who put him in prison and he did nothing and he had to serve his time. It's hard to understand stories from people because I don't know whether they're true or not true, but I know that most people that come on here are very truthful and very honest with their feelings. And thank you, Emma, for the thumbs up. That was nice of you. I do have emojis in this room, like thumbs up, smiley faces, and also you can send me stars. Please check below to subscribe to my podcast. And if you want to be notified, check the notification button. This is the first of one of 4 ways that you can be interacting with this podcast. That is by just finding me and being in this room. And I do care very much about every individual, and hopefully my stories can share. Now, I was talking about attorney and how important it is. I tried a court-appointed attorney, and it didn't work. Now, we have several comments that have come in the room. I need to catch up with the comments now. We have a person named Ali Tofafa. Hey, can I call you? Oh my God, I wish you could. So many people have tried to call me, but right now, the Vonage, which is the internet application for my phone, my office phone, is not working. So I've tried repeatedly the last couple days to get the office to take care of it. This is Isabel's mom. Okay, Isabel, maybe Isabel's been on before. Let me see. She puts things here. I've been denied 3 Marston's request. I don't know what a Marston den is. I'll have to look that up. Marston den. Even after the last one, my attorney put her hands in my face and smacked them and admitted to doing that to them, still denied it. Wow, that sounds pretty terrible to have an attorney smack you in the face. That is really something else. Further, Ali says, if they're reading this, I know it's going to cause more issues in my case, but honestly, nothing else can get worse except for looking for my daughter, for taking my daughter from me. What they're already trying to do, if I just sit by, they will. I'm so sorry, Ali. What city and state are you from? What city and state are you from? So you're getting a new attorney? I cannot believe an attorney would slap you in the face. Marston, I guess, means a new attorney. She smacked you in the face. That's physical. I mean, that's a criminal matter. Let me look up what Marston is. Marston. Marsden. CPS. There is a motion on YouTube. Let me see. To parents, relatives, and caretakers and interest people. Local agencies responsible for investigating allegations of child abuse and neglect. What is a Marston hearing? The information. Okay, a Marston hearing is when don't like your attorney and you want to request a new attorney in court. But Vincent Davis, who is my attorney, recommends you need to first talk to the attorney that you have. But I'm afraid when someone slaps you in the face, that is wrong. That is very, very wrong, because that's getting physical. And so, Allie, that is very, very physical. Yeah, Marston equals a new attorney. Um, no, they denied a new attorney for me. Why did they deny a new attorney if she slapped you? By the way, Ala Tafoya is from Merced, California. And I warmly welcome you, Allie. I warmly welcome you. Oh, smacked your hands, not hit you, but in front of your face, smack your hands. But that's still alarming. That's no way a professional person acts. There's no way. And again, the attorneys that you deal with are not very, some of them are not very professional. It's like with the social workers attorneys or the judges in the dependency court. They're going to be bad. Now, my attorney, has a short video on that. And, he has some things to say about that. Let's see what else is said about a Marston hearing or Marston switching case. In Texas, it's a motion that she was in a civil lawsuit with CPS. I'm not sure how they go about it. You can file a Marston motion in family court, but it's a real tricky thing in there. Basically, you're trying to replace your attorney, and if it's a court-appointed attorney, all I know is you can go in Orange County to the clerk's office, and down the hall there'll be the attorney's office for court-appointed attorneys, and you can ask for a new one. My wife had to replace her attorney several times because it was bad. My attorney was bad. We both gave up on my attorney, and we had to go out and hire professional attorneys. Hey, yes. Go ahead, Faye.
In some states, you're only allowed one court-appointed attorney, and then you have to hire your own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, by the way, that is Faye. She is live on my show listening, and she just offered a good advice. Some states don't allow you more than one court-appointed attorney. In California, the Orange County, my wife went through several. I heard of one person that went through 9 or 10 court-appointed attorneys. It's sad. But you definitely have to hire an attorney, and it's hard when you don't have money. In 2010, I lost my job through no fault of my own, and suddenly I had to worry about mortgage payments of $5,000 a month to keep my house. And I had to worry about expenses because my cost of living back then was about $10,000 a month living in that home 1 mile from the beach in that city. That's how much I needed income, was $10,000 a month. So that's like a minimum of $120,000, and that has to be after taxes. So I was making some good money when I lost my job. I was making $250,000, but that money, when I lost my job, went out the window. So I had money saved up, and the money I had saved up, I tried to hang on to my house, but I did lose my house. And when the CPS was so frustrated, not finding anything wrong with me, they hired a detective, a local police detective, who followed me when I picked up my children and then stopped me and ordered me to go to my home to open it up. And in front of my home, there was 2 social workers, five firemen, 2 code enforcement, 3 social workers, and 2 uniformed policemen, the detective. All of them were there to find out if they could take my kids. And they did take my kids, by the way, that day. They weren't in imminent danger, but they're in school. And I guess being in school, it's called imminent danger. They have a weird thing about imminent danger. They want to make money. So they're going to use anything they can. And as a parent, I was dumb. I knew nothing. The things I'm talking about now, if I knew back then, we would never have lost her children. And one of her children was lost forever. One of her 6 children was lost forever. We have 6 beautiful children. I still call my family of 6. And I had a child by my first marriage, and then I had 3 with my second marriage, and then my wife had 2 beautiful children with her. So collectively, we had 6 children. That's my family. I had a dining room table of 8 people that could sit, a formal dining room table. And one day my dream was to have Thanksgiving with my family of 8 together and to share a Thanksgiving meal, because my parents always got together at Thanksgiving. My idea of family and everything was based on my growing up with my parents. So a lot of us have that same kind of feeling. Now, I need to go back to Allie, who's talking some more now. Let's see what else she's sitting there. I think I know Isabella. And a name of Tafoa, I think, is Samoan. This may be someone that knows me in real life. Her family is well known in the country. Her late husband was the DA, and her family doesn't have any good standing, not for a husband, at her child. This is awful. I'm hearing from Allie. Are you Samoan? Are you one of the Samoan moms that I know with my son's football team? When you're unhappy with your attorney, you must prove there's been a distance or break in communication that you feel is enough to deliberately affect your case, and just ask the judge for a Marston. Okay. Now, she further says all parents are guaranteed the right to an attorney at each stage of the dependency process. I agree with you. There is civil rights and constitutional rights, but the problem is 99% of the time, the child protection system doesn't care about your civil rights. Neither does the police. I've heard so many atrocious stories that have happened where the police have forcefully taken a child who was born still with the umbilical cord still attached to the mother and ripped the child out of the room. There was a case of a CPS worker and a policeman. They grabbed the child and started running with it. That's how gross that these cases have become. There's a lot of anger in my voice, but I've heard a lot, and I've seen my family destroyed. He says that, and I said plain and clear right after the detention, did not feel comfortable with her. I guess you're talking about your attorney, but I did not still comfortable with representing myself. No, representing yourself is not the way to go, because you don't know the laws and they'll take advantage of you in the courtroom. You have to remember that judge has golf or lunch with the social attorneys, with the court-appointed attorneys, and they'll play golf or they'll have lunch with the clerk. You have to understand that most of the dependency courts are in cahoots. There may be a good one or two, but I've told you, I've only talked to 3 social workers. Represent myself either. I have since requested 2 more times. Each time I had to be on tonight a new attorney. I'm so sorry. Also, this attorney is also a conflict of interest. She was the attorney appointed to me after I was able to be granted a Marston request in my son's case. Now, Allie further says, I had a hard work type case. I don't know what a hard work type case is. She further says Wallace Roger Traxel. I don't know what that is. All amendment means is emergency justifying the swift removal of a child. Well, you have to have what's called a court warrant, is my understanding. And to get a court warrant, the police or the social worker has to go to a judge and request one, but they got to prove to the judge that it's warranted. Now, a court warrant will be very specific. It'll be signed by a judge with a wet signature. It can't be a PDF file or on the computer or a copy of old court warrants. It's got to specifically say who they're addressing. It has to be show the negligence or abuse, the names of the children, the street address of the place, what day and time they can come for the removal of the child or look at your house or talk to you. And then, as it says, signed. And there's a hand stamp that's done by the clerk that raises the signature so no one can forge that. And if it's on a holiday or a weekend, they don't do courts on those days. So that's a bogus warrant. They use bogus warrants all the time. You have to understand, the Child Protection Agency and the police that work with them are bad. They're bad news. Okay. Allie further says, that could not wait for a warrant. They were at the residence for over 1.5 hours. Signed and completed safety plan like your answers. So I had the sheriff detain my daughter from a residence that won't ever our house with allegations participating in that residence. Well, if you somehow could get an attorney over to your house before these people show up or have an attorney present, I know sometimes if you meet them outside, you can ask to say, I need to get my attorney present, because by law, you're required at all proceedings to have an attorney present. Now, Allie further says this is a 100% a retaliatory seizure, and I can prove. I believe you, Allie. You don't have to prove me anything. Most of the people in this room are honest. Why? Because they're not going to waste time to come to my podcast and talk about this story. I called so many times to Mr. Davis's radio show and office with my son's case that Yolanda remembers me now. Yeah, I know who Yolanda is. So you did try to get a hold of Mr. Davis. They also put up that on a safety plan. Okay, so did you hire Mr. Davis or did you want to talk to Mr. Davis? Because as far as my experience is that with my case, he worked hard to get my 2 boys back. My daughter was taken because the Child Protection Agency in Orange County very trickily used revenge against us parents. What they did is that the social worker was caught lying on the stand, and she committed perjury, and she was so embarrassed that she told us parents, you'll never see your daughter again. So she used the law in Orange County, California, that if you're 12 years old, you can emancipate from your parents. That means you can divorce your mom and dad. When you divorce your mom and dad, you divorce your brothers, you divorce your grandparents, you divorce your aunts and uncles, and you divorce your cousins. Furthermore, that social worker told our daughter, who's 12 at the time and not very smart about these kinds of matters, to change her name, and she changed her name completely. She removed a beautiful name that her mom and father gave her. On top of that, she sealed her birth certificate, and so that she could get a new birth certificate with the foster care people that she wanted to be adopted. And she got a new Social Security card. So all that being said, she was with the social workers at age 12, not the social workers, but the foster parents. But later on, she left the foster parents because she was hurt. My wife and I have not found out the reason why she was hurt, but she is now living with our oldest daughter, which is a good thing. At least we know she's safe. We not have any touch with her. Our sons do talk to her sister. Our sons have kept in touch with her sister and also her stepsister, which is my wife's oldest daughter. And it seems like our family's been fractured so bad that my wife's oldest son and oldest sister and our youngest girl don't talk to us since this incident. They have been brainwashed into thinking that we are terrible parents. And it was so sad because I'd spent over $20,000 to rent an apartment so that she could have her own bedroom. And she never came home. We had a room for her as well as a room for my wife and my two boys. And I would stay out of the house so that our daughter could amend things and be back. But I spent $20,000. The social workers did not care. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with legal fees. Ridiculous how much money I spent. Money was just, I'm talking, this whole nightmare was a couple $1,000,000 plus losing a $2 million home, and then very hard getting a job because I think me being involved in CPS has been one of the factors. But I'm still trying to get a job. I have a job listed right now. I just had a person that had an emergency. He said he's going to get back to me, but he has a job for me, which is really good because once I can work on that job, I can try to get my family, because my whole goal in my life is to repair my family and get my family safe enough so they have enough food to eat, a nice place is warm, and be able to go to nice things, like movies and stuff like that. It's a real struggle. I know this weekend my wife has asked a movie. I want to take her to that movie. We're supposed to go to a football game tonight. We still have an interest in my son's football team, and they're going for another national championships. They're one of the best teams around, and it's a pleasure watching, and it's a pleasure doing that. So we go back to Allie, and they detained her daughter. I didn't know that was a typo. Okay, I'm sorry, Allie. It's going fast. I love to hire him. I don't have the money. Would he agree to take my case, her for any winnings? Because I know this is a true case. Allie, I believe you. And Vincent Davis is always willing to help or listen. But right now, I have two ways you can go with Mr. Actually, I have three ways you can go with Mr. Davis. One way, you can call the office at 888-888-6582. That's the law offices of Vincent Davis. That's where you can talk about hiring any attorney. You can tell them that Bob Pace sent you and that you want to retain Mr. Davis or want to talk to about him. Also, right now, I have a chance for you to talk to him for $60 for 30 minutes, and he can talk about your case and strategies, but you have to go to a website to book them. It's right here. If you want to book a discounted private Zoom consultation with attorney Vincent Davis for 30 minutes, you go to this website, https://candidly.com/apptsvwd/Bob Pace. And when you go there, use your credit card, book that 30 minutes. It'll be $60, a special rate I have with them. And when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him you talked to me. The third way is you can be a guest on my podcast. If you're a guest on my podcast, he will talk to you for 15 minutes for no charge. All you have to do is be a guest for my podcast. You need to contact my show producer. Her name is Grace, and you can email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And he will, or she will actually put you on the show as a guest. She'll contact you with a link to StreamYard, and she'll tell you what you can do and not do. Like you cannot, eat on the show or smoke on the show. You don't use the names of children, social workers, or the judges' names on the show. But she'll tell you what to do and not to do, and she works really hard behind the scenes, making the show go really well. And so she'll put you. All you need to do is pick my show time, one of my 14 show times, morning or evening, Sunday through Monday. You pick the date, and the times, and she'll take care of the rest. She'll help you with everything else on there. Now, I didn't have the money to hire Mr. Davis, but I did have a home. And even though I had a credit line on that home, I sold my home in a quick sale and broke even. My 2 loans, a credit line, and things were paid off, and I walked around with a little bit of money to hire Mr. Davis. I also had other sources that I was trying to get. And I've not been the same since we lost our beautiful home. We had the most beautiful home you could ever imagine. And it was all because of a layperson made false accusations that uses the child protection service for their own means, their alternative motives. Her parents, my wife's parents, did not show up at our wedding. One of her sisters was even in California, and she wouldn't show up either. They never supported us as a husband and wife. They were very jealous of her children because we had 3 beautiful children. Our 2 sons are so great. They're both in college. They're both are pursuing a life, and both sons have turned out to be really excellent people. One son was on the national football team twice in his 4 years in high school. The other son was on a robotics team and a golf team, and they both took STEM classes. That means they took a science class, technology class, engineering class, and a math class. And they're very, very professional people. They're still living with us. There's 4 of us, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And so what I'm trying to do is get a job and get us out of this mess. And I want to help others by doing this podcast. And so I really want to help you here. Let me see here, Ali. Tofaya. I'm sorry I ruined your last name. I don't know if that is a okay. She further says I can send him copies of my reports as well as what I've already have drafted in appeals. Maybe he could look it over for me. I don't know. He is very open to anything. He's a caring man. He's extended so much of his law firm and his time. I know that he works really hard and he's owed a lot of money right now. A lot of money he is owed a lot of money. But he is a professional and he does want to help you. Okay. So, Allie, as soon as you can be on this show, you can actually have 15 minutes of free time with Mr. Davis. You can actually have free time with him on that. Well, I know that you can't afford it, even the $60 for 30 minutes, or it doesn't cost you anything to be a guest on my show. All you have to do is write Grace at grace@vincentwdavis.com, and it will open up. All I need is your name, your phone number, and your email, and Grace will take care of the rest and arrange you to have a 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. And he will fight in Northern California and other states. He has a case in Oklahoma. He has a case in Northern California. He has cases in San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Orange County. So he will fight in each state. And so you can talk to him about his retainer. And you can borrow the money from family and friends or whatever you come up with. Now, Ali further is saying, that is sad. I don't have a home. I sure do with my parents who are both in their mid 70s. I don't, I know what it is. And my stepfather is still working. My mother can no longer, because of medical conditions, she can't stand. Um, she can't stand that things like that. And now, because CPS says there's no court order stating it, but I'm told if I want my daughter placed back in the home we share with the grandparents, back in their own bedroom, then I can no longer go back to my mother's home ever again, or get any kind of help or rides from them ever again. That is so sad. I don't know what you've done, Allie. In your case to me, you've not told me what you alleged that you did to your daughter. But if you go to your home there, you should be able to be with your you should be able to be with your daughter. This is sad. There's a lot more that you need to talk to me about. I have about 15 more minutes before my show will be over, but I do want to help you as best as I can. All I can do is share what worked for me, getting my two boys back and my experience with fighting CPS. Because you want to live at your grandparents' home, that's not a bad thing. I don't know what you've done to your children, what they accuse you of done for your children. But I know that you're struggling, and I'm glad you called my show and are asking for help. And I want to help you. That's one thing in my life. If I die tomorrow, at least I try to help others get their children back. I feel like I'm doing something good by talking to y'all and sharing the horrible and bad things that I've encountered. And so, I'll be blessed that I've tried to help others. I probably am not a very good at doing that. And sometimes I, speak from the heart or speak from everything, but I wish I was able to help out more out there. But I am struggling myself, and I know I'm not struggling as much as Faye or other people like Faye who constantly listen to my show, who help me. I have Natalie of West Hollywood that calls all the time. And I have KK Richardson from Brooklyn, New York. I have Christina. I have so many people that call in here with help, and I want to help them all. Now, we just had a new person named Carlos Rodriguez. Good afternoon, Carlos Rodriguez. Let's see what Carlos is saying. In the name of Jesus Christ, I am a disabled veteran. Our children were kidnapped from us by CPS. In the name of Jesus Christ, hopefully they can help. Well, God bless you, Carlos, and thank you for your service to our country. I'm sorry, I don't know. I need to know more about your case. Could you tell me the county, the city or the county, and the state you're from, and what you were charged with? What were the allegations? What were the neglect or abuse, or both, the details? Okay, Allie further says, let's see what Allie says. They used to text messages that are obvious. They're not complete or concise, and you can't even see part of one message. I don't know if you're talking right now. It's cut in half and never picks up anywhere else. There is also a poof by the Wi-Fi and date symbols. The battery charging and the time of day and night was representative by Mr. Davis. If you'd be willing to look at it over and to say yay or nay, I'm not sure if watching it all. I understand your frustrations. Again, there's several ways, Allie. You can book them for $60 for 30 minutes. You can be a guest on my show, and they can set up a booking for 15 minutes at no charge. And so those are two ways that you can be a part of this podcast. So I have about 10 minutes left. I do want to check my messages on my YouTube plan, because there are also messages on YouTube. The messages on Facebook and the messages on YouTube are different. They are different. So let me see if I can find my live podcast. There it is. Okay, I find my live podcast. Now I'm looking to see if there's any messages. I don't see anything. Wait a second. I do see Carlos Rodriguez. His message came through, but that's all that's come through on YouTube. That's all that's come through on YouTube. So I have checked my live chat. I have checked my live chat on YouTube. Okay, so we have live chat on YouTube and live chat on Facebook. What I do is I turn my sound down on my phone during the live chat on YouTube. But my sound is turned up because I got Faye on the phone, and so she can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, Allie's got another message. Let's see what she says. She's asking a question. How can I do the 15 minutes if possible? Okay, I'll try to go slowly. Right now, Vincent has told me that he will talk to any of my guests that are on my podcast. So, for instance, if my phone was working on this podcast, you could call in and you would be considered for that. But right now, all I have is to be a guest. So what you do is you email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you tell her you want to be on Bob's Monday or Sunday or Saturday, and you want to be on the morning or evening time. You pick a time, and she will contact you, give you the link, and get you on the show. After you're a guest, you will qualify for the 15 minutes of free time with Mr. Davis. 15 minutes of free time. That goes to anybody who's listening in this room. If you're a guest, you're entitled to speak to Mr. Davis for free for 15 minutes. All you have to do is be a guest on my show. And it's not that hard. You email my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. And that's how you can do it, Allie. I was on your video guest a few times back in April. I know you were, Allie, and I believe that, but that offer just came in this week. That was a new offer. Last week, he sent me an email. He wants to see me, have guests. He's trying to get me to have guests now, and it's hard to get guests. So he's offered a teaser to get a guest. All he's saying is that he'll talk to you for 50 minutes. That is only going on for a week. And so, what you're in April, that's okay. But he's looking for it recently. He's trying to help me get more guests on the show. I want to help all of you out there, like we had Rodrigo here, who called in, but he hasn't said much more. Carlos Rodriguez, who was a veteran who lost his children, and they were kidnapped. And he doesn't tell me where he's at or any more details, but I want to help out Carlos. He's also text me on YouTube as well as Facebook. So I know, Allie, but it's for now for the new guests on the show. All you have to do, it's a simple email.
Are we over time?
No, we got about 5 more minutes here, Grace. I started a few minutes after the hour, but you're right. My running clock says 55 minutes, and so Grace was so nice. Not Grace, I'm sorry. Faye was so nice to point it out to me that I got to end my podcast because my time is up. I'm supposed to go from 3 to 4. And I started 3 minutes late. So I was trying to give you a full hour. So I'm going to end my podcast and play a special ad from Mr. Davis. I want you to listen to this, Allie. You can talk to him on Saturday. He'll have a Zoom meeting. And I want you to come back, Allie. Don't be a stranger. April is a long time. Come on there. Carlos, thank you for talking to me. I want to talk to you again and some more time. Thank you all the people for my thumbs up and all the emojis. That's nice. Thank you, Emma Rebel. And thank you, Dana Yavaskai. And again, I would love to talk to you more. I'll be on again Saturday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. That's Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all. Keep fighting for your kids. Don't give up. I'm here. I'm here 14 times a week. 14 times a week. I think I'm here more than anybody who's fighting CPS. That's twice a day that I talk about CPS. Twice a day. So I'll see you all tomorrow and listen to what Mr. Davis has to say. Good evening and God bless.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.